Welcome to Vintage Vinyl, the show where we love to argue about music. My name is Jeffrey Lee Puckett, music writer for the Courier Journal. This is Tom Heiser, who works with me here at the CJ. Tom, what do we do on this show anyway?
Well, let's see. We're friends in general, but when it comes to music, when it comes to discussing vintage vinyl, classic rock, sometimes we butt heads. And
Yes.
So we decided to take it into a public forum and let you, the viewer, decide what are, in fact, vintage vinyl. And we're going to go this week with a real heavyweight.
Yes, the heaviest of all weights.
The Beatles. We are going back to Great Britain for John, Paul, George, and Ringo. And this is really, really tough, as you can expect.
We're going to do top 10 Beatles, but because...
how can you do a top 10 Beatles?
Well, we had to split it up because, in my mind, the Beatles had two pretty distinctive career arcs. Mm-hmm. They had the real early stuff, and then they started getting high, and things went off into a totally different direction. So all we decided to do was a Beatles Part 1. And this is everything Hard Day's Night backward.
And I'm going to start it. I'm going to start at number 10 with I Want to Hold Your Hand. And not only can I sing it, but I can also sing the German version of it too. Komm, gib mir deine Hand. And this song not only is classic Beatles, but it is a throwback to those early days in Hamburg.
You know, I never even considered that song for some reason.
Komm, gib mir deine Hand.
I considered that version.
Okay, that version.
My number 10, You Can't Do That,
nice
which also harkens back to their club days. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is just a slightly slowed down, but it's definitely a hard dance song, you know, kind of bluesy.
Because I told you before, you can't do that.
Okay, that's the...
You all right with that? You good with that?
That's not bad. That's not bad. Not quite on my list.
Not quite good, but not
I'm going to go with number 9. I Want to Be Your Man. And there is a second version that the Rolling Stones put out just before the Beatles did. But this Beatles version is very, very good.
My number 9 from Beatles for Sale, I'm a Loser.
Don't let anybody call you.
I'm a loser, and I lost someone who means to me. I'm a loser.
Very good song. That was close. That was
Yeah.
close. And at number 8, I'm going with 8 Days a Week.
I love that song.
I love you. Don't. No. 8 Days a Week was one of my first records as a wee lad, so it's got a special place in my heart.
My number 8 is A Hard Day's Night, title track from their first film.
No, 8. You're killing me. That is way too low. Yes, it's the title track of the film. A great. All right. Well, I'm going to leave it alone for now, but you'll hear back from me soon. 8.
That was the third choice for that movie's title. They had a couple other potential names for it, and nobody liked it. And then one night after one of those 14-hour days of filming, Ringo goes, "Oh, it's a hard day's night." That's my Scottish Ringo.
That's the worst Liverpudlian accent I've ever heard.
So and they all said, "Oh, there we go. There's the name of our movie." And they wrote a song.
It's a great movie. We'll get back to this because I'm very disappointed that you have it in with 2 8s or 2 little circles like that.
Snowman.
Number 7, If I Fell, a very soft song. If I fell in love with you, would you promise to be true?
It's a very romantic
It is
song.
a very romantic song. And
I could see it being the soundtrack to an Assignation, perhaps.
Actually, it is the soundtrack to a memorable evening in one Thomas E. Heiser's youth when, after a male manual homecoming basketball game, a comely beauty by the name of Johanna came up to me and said she wanted to be my girlfriend, and shortly thereafter handed me a tape that said "For Tom," and on it was one song.
No.
Yes, it was. If I Fell. So here's to you, babe.
Wow. All right. No Reply is my number 7.
So why No Reply? Why?
It's not a song I expected to be on this list, frankly. But when we decided to do this early version, I listened to the first 4 Beatles albums twice all the way through. And that was the song that just kept coming back. I kept saying, I cannot leave this off. And I never even thought about it going in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go at number 6 with All My Loving.
Ooh,
I will give to you. It's to me, it's the lyrics, plus the buildup of the a little bit rockier song to me. But as far as like singing in the car, All My Loving's been one of my all-time favorites.
If I Fell.
Were you at the Mail Manual homecoming basketball game?
I've been meaning to tell you about this. This is going to be awkward.
Oh, okay.
But the tape you got was not the first tape she handed out.
Oh no! You have killed me, JLP. Oh, that's bad.
All right, if you're done wallowing about this episode, I'm going to check the Magic Gate.
Go ahead. At this point, I don't even care.
Magic Guest Ball, who is going to weigh in on the Beatles this week?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, it's Terry Miners from WHAS. I've played a zillion records on the radio in the last 37 years, and one of my favorites is by John Lennon of the Beatles. I like this just because it's nice and simple. It's John Lennon, a guy with a real social conscience, but sounding like he's nervous in love. And that's kind of sweet to hear him take that stance. Mind if I sing along with him?
If I fell in love with you, would you promise to be true and help me understand?
No.
Are you crying?
You end the show right now.
There's no crying. There's no crying.
All right, I'm back. Time to put nostalgia behind. But now we're going to look back again to number 5, which I should have known better. I should have known better.
You should have known better.
I should have known better. Looking back at my Beatles collection, which actually was my uncle's Beatles collection, I should have known better was the song I probably tried to stand up and pretend I was John the most time. So yes, I should have known better.
I wonder if the second generation of Beatles fans, if we all just inherited records instead of actually buying them. I would guess so.
Oh, I definitely inherited.
Yeah.
I definitely inherited.
Yeah. My number 5 is 8 Days a Week.
Very strong. No, I'm gonna praise this because again I had it 8. I wanted to take it up higher, and I can appreciate the fact that you did.
I ain't got nothing but love, girl. 8 days a week.
It's the location of these songs within the 10 was very, very difficult.
No.
Yeah. I'm glad you approve of that. What's your number 4?
Please, Please Me. Another one that I've tried to croon many times unsuccessfully.
It's a hard song to sing.
It is a hard song to sing, but I think that they pull it off fantastically. Yeah, if I were going to give a tape to someone, I might have that one on there.
It seems I've never really been able to figure it out lyrically. He wants her to please him like he pleases her. It's very open-ended. I just can't figure it out. What's
This isn't philosophy class. We have a lot of debates, but this.
This was probably like post-German. This is probably some Nietzsche kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And we have to get a little deeper into this.
All right. All My Lovin' is my number 4.
Good one.
That is a good one. I have nothing more to say about that song.
Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember, I'll always be true.
That's it. You have nothing to say. Oh,
It's just
I thought you were going to expound upon the that it was my number 6.
I think All My Loving. I'm probably wrong about this, but in my mind, it seems like that's when they were really getting their groove on, as far as writing Lennon-McCartney songs that seem to blend their two personalities and songwriting styles.
Well, number 3, I'm going with a song that from the very beginning has me pulled in. It is "I Saw Her Standing There," and that's another one where in front of the mirror I have said, she was just 17. You know what I mean. But I think that was a harder sound, that really upbeat, the really upbeat sound to it. I've always loved that. As far as going back to the early years, that's why I wanted to wanted to pretend I was a singer.
I feel like all of your songs are about Joanna.
No. Who? I don't even remember anymore. Sorry, that's in the past.
My number 3, I Should Have Known Better. Again, with the girl. I think you summed this song up perfectly. I'm not going to say anything else.
If this is love, you gotta give me more. Give me more. Hey, hey, hey. Give me more.
It's another perfect example of how the Beatles basically invented a whole style of pop music. I mean, there's really no one else before them. There were other great songwriters. Chuck Berry was an amazing songwriter, but Chuck Berry was doing, his own version of the blues. The Beatles were taking the whole idea of pop music standards, but it's like a whole new definition of
Right.
pop standards.
Well, I think, for example, you could compare that with the Stones, who were covering blues, but it's still having a little bit more bluesier sound. I don't think you can say that the Beatles had that.
No.
At number 2, can you believe this? We have melded minds once again for "Can't Buy Me Love." You tell me why "Can't Buy Me Love" is so high.
Oh man, just one of the greatest openings. I mean, when you're a kid, how do you just not love that little chimey guitar? And then just boom into that, ooh, I need your love, babe.
And "Can't Buy Me Love." So you just sit there and say, "I buy you a diamond ring, my friend, if it makes you feel all right." Oh, I absolutely love that.
Oh, yeah, I was singing 8 days a week.
Yes, you're back to that song again. No, that's why we just steer back to "Can't Buy Me Love." So, yes, at number 2.
I needed another sip of water after that.
But we're sharing at number 2, but we're going to break off here at number 1, and I'm going with the movie that we talked about and the song, "Hard Day's Night." The opening, it's been a hard day's night,
and I've been working like a dog. It's been a hard day's night.
And then to see sitting there, John leans into Paul and says, "Who's the little old man?" Now that's a Liverpudlian accent, right? Yeah. That's a lot better than what you did. Yeah. But that visual too, of the girls and with the ties on, that are chasing them through the train station at the beginning. To me, it's not only the song "Hard Day's Night," but it's the visual, and it's, to me, who the Beatles were.
Is that on the train when he leans in and says that? Are they on the train already?
Yes, when sitting next to a little old man, much as yourself. He's the little. In fact, I'll say it again, and not to be confused with someone from Liverpool, but hey, who's the little old man? That's right. That's my grandfather. So,
there were 2 girls in that same car. One of them was Patty Boyd, who ended up marrying George. Patty Harrison.
Oh, yeah. Well, they were some fine birds, I can tell you. Fine birds.
My number 1 is "I Saw Her Standing There."
Oh, here we go.
It's just, like you said, it's just a song that never gets old. You never get tired of "I Saw Her Standing There." It also harkens back to their club days because it's just pretty raw. I think it kind of encapsulates the early Beatles for me in a lot of ways.
So look, before we move on to our second era of Beatles, would you say, looking back at these, that you're a bigger fan of the club era?
No, I will say that I was surprised at how hard it was to do 10 from the club era.
Yeah.
I wound up with 20, actually.
Well, that's not what this show is called. This is our top 10.
I will put my second 10, I'll put it up on the Courier Journal Facebook page if anybody's interested. Probably about 3 or 4 of my second 10 were in constant contention for top 10, and then the rest were just sort of great songs that didn't quite make it.
Well, I can say that it's going to be an interesting second round. But yeah, it was nice to go back and listen to, like you said, the club years, the Hamburg years. again, if you ever get a chance, if you've been to Germany and especially to Hamburg and get a chance to go to that part of town, you can see why it was very exciting. And if you were, an English band at that time, it just had to be an absolute blast. It was a scene, man, a real scene.
On that note, check back next time. We'll be talking about another of your favorite bands. We might even be talking about a whole group of bands.
Oh.
We might find whole new ways to argue.
Oh, I
Here
agree.
at Vintage Vinyl at courierjournal.com/music and on Twitter at CJ Vinyl.
Jeffrey?
Again.
Mom wants to.
Yeah, Ma.
Johanna's on the phone.
Oh! Hashtag boom. You've been served.
Oh.